I'm just here with Kristie Melling from Feeling Peachy. She's a remedial massage therapist and she's been in business for herself for 20 years now. Kristie, welcome.
Hello, how are you?
So good. So good to be interviewing you today. And we want to hear a bit about your story and your journey through business because my audience is starting in business themselves or they're in business and they want to understand like what are the fundamentals of running business successfully without burning themselves out, and also how they can contribute back in a bigger way than just their little business. So why don't we start off by hearing a bit about your story of how you got into business?
Okay. Well, as you said, I've been a massage therapist now for about 20 years, which seems like a really long time because obviously I'm very, very good looking. It's taken care of me. But I've been massaging since I was 16. I'm now 36 and I've been in business for myself since I was 19. So I basically left college, did my studies. I did a 2-year full-time diploma and I graduated and I went out into the world and they said, start a business. And I started a business and it was great. And it was not great. It was terrible.
Okay.
So at first I worked for a chiropractor, which was really fun right up until the first year that my tax bill came in. And it was like $7,000. And I was like, I know $7,000. So yeah, I was like, I didn't have that much money. Like, my accountants, I was like, I don't understand. And yeah, basically I love touching people's bodies and I really just enjoy being in business. And I think one of the things that I've learned over the last however many years of being in business and being a health professional in business is that I can't do everything. And so it's massage is a really kind of bizarre industry, I think. It has its ups and downs and it's not a traditional business. And so it's hard for you to kind of get your head around how to give so much to so many and keep just enough for yourself so you can kind of stay healthy and mentally kind of not crazy and all of those kinds of things.
Yeah.
So like I've basically had a few iterations of business. I've worked for myself. I've worked as a mobile therapist. I've worked as a contractor within businesses. I've sublet space. I've rented my own space. I've moved from smaller rented premises right up into having like a 6-room day spa and 7 employees. And I'm now back at a home studio looking to move into another premises again in the next probably 6 to 12 months. So I've kind of run the gamut of like everything that you could imagine that could be thrown at you in a business situation. What do you want to know? Ask me all the questions.
Okay, so having done all of that, like what have you found to be your balance now? Like what do you consider yourself to be successful? What is your definition of what that is? And what is your balanced place? Like, how does that look for you?
Okay. I don't know that I consider myself a success yet. I had, from the outside looking in, about 6 or 7 years ago, I had a really successful business. We had 7 staff and a day spa where we ran remedial massage sessions. We had a naturopath. We had a holistic counselor. We had beauty therapy. We ran a whole kind of gamut of different courses and workshops and like all these kinds of things. And from the outside looking in, it looked really amazing. But from the inside where I was trapped, it was 80 to 100 hours a week of being in a clinic, not seeing any of my family or friends, having a half a day off a week. I got a half day off on a Sunday. And basically I was not eating. I was like super anxious. I was like stressed to the max. And everybody's looking at me going, congratulations, it must be amazing. I'm like, oh, somebody help me. I'm drowning on the inside. And so in 2011, when my life imploded on itself, it was a really interesting and horrible opportunity for me to step back and take a real stock of my life, because I thought having this massive business and having all these staff and having all of these things was successful. And what I realized was, if I wasn't actually taking care of myself and, looking after the other areas of my life other than business, I wasn't actually being successful in anything else other than kind of externally to the world in business. So in 2011, a couple of the best and horriblest things happened. So my business was in Fairfield in Queensland, which, if anyone from Australia may remember, 2011, everything in Fairfield went underwater. So it flooded and my business premises was fine, but 80% of our clients went underwater, and suddenly having a massage and their eyebrows waxed and all these kinds of things wasn't a priority. My mother was diagnosed with terminal cancer and I had a baby. So all the best and horrible things. And I took this time, my business basically collapsed in on itself. I didn't have enough support and I didn't have enough financial acumen or money to kind of keep things going while I was trying to look after a small baby, recover from having no clients coming in, and also take care of a mother with terminal cancer. And when someone you love gets something like cancer, you suddenly have this moment where you're sort of going, well, it could all just be over in a heartbeat, really, couldn't it? And you sort of take stock and you think, is what I'm doing now really worth it in the long run? And I looked at it and it really wasn't. I didn't want to have to go back with a young child going to do 80 plus hours a week of looking after staff and having to deal with all of the kind of stress and drama that comes along with that. I didn't want to have to compromise the time I spent with my family whilst my mum was sick. Like, I didn't want to have to compromise all these things. And so I made this really heartbreaking decision for me to close my business. And we shut down everything. We cancelled all our leases. And I ended up being about $100,000 in debt because our business had taken on a lot of loans to buy equipment and a lot of things to pay for rental agreements and all these different kinds of things. And at the end of the day, it ended up being a really challenging time. But what actually came out of it was a blessing wrapped in a curse, essentially, or gift wrapped up in a horrible kind of gift wrapping that looked like shit. And what ended up happening was I was able to have some space to step back, reassess my life, reassess what I wanted from my business, reassess how I wanted to work, reassess who I wanted to work with, because at the end of the day, I was like, all the clients, everybody, I don't care who you are. Do you have a body? You're totally the person I want to see. And I was able to kind of carve myself out a really beautiful niche where I now I still work a lot. I mean, I have a lot of available hours, but I love what I do. So I'm finding the balance now of working with the people I really love rather than having to work with everybody. And I'm finding that what I've done now is I've kind of honed my niche down to this point where I'm really comfortable with saying no to people. I'm really comfortable with not having to see every single person. I'm really comfortable with not having to kind of do things. And it took a tipping point for me of obviously everything turning to poo for it to be able to actually get to this point where I'm now okay with it. And what I would really love is for people to not ever have to get to that point where everything implodes on itself.
Yeah.
They make smarter choices and they make decisions for themselves coming from a place of looking at themselves holistically, because essentially as holistic business owners, so we're in wellness, so you're a naturopath or you're a nutritionist, you're a PT or a massage therapist, whatever you're doing, ideally what we want to do is be taking care of people. That's at the core of what we do. And the reality is, if we can't step back and actually apply some of what we give to others to ourselves, we'll never be as successful as we want to be. That kind of makes sense.
Nice. I like that definition of success. In a long definition, but it makes sense.
Thank you. It's
so.
Hi.
Well, yeah. So I guess, like, so many people, they do want to have a big impact. They do want to change as many lives as they can. And they do go out thinking, all right, my clients are going to be anyone and everyone because I just want to have as much impact as possible. So if they're going to listen to what you're saying and go, all right, well, we should really focus in on a particular group and just help them the best possible way we can, how can they still be leveraged in that way? How can people still have maximum impact even though they're focusing on a smaller group of people? Like, how does that work?
Okay. I think one of the things that, and this is going to be a really weird segue, so just roll with me on this.
Cool.
I look at places and I look at like Facebook, for example, and you see all those like sad videos of like the children in Syria and, you know, and South Sudan and like all these kinds of things. And you think, how can I have an impact? How am I possibly going to do these things? And I think the best thing that you can do is focus on small stuff that's achievable and look past just the one person you're impacting, because the reality is if you are like, I can only use my own examples. I have clients who are in chronic pain and they hurt constantly and life is pretty crap for them. If what I can do is make an impact on them so that they can go and do the thing that they love with the people they love the most, then my impact is bigger than just that one person. Because I'm helping them to do the things that they love. And then they're helping their loved ones to do the things they love, and they're helping their loved ones, and so on and so on and so on. And so it's the stone in a pond. The stone can be small but the ripples will be large. And so you can't, the reality is you aren't ever going to be able to help every person, because not every person is the right client for you, and not every person is going to resonate with what you're doing or want to hear what you have to say when you have to say it. And so I get that people really want to have this massive, you know, they want to impact the world and like change 10,000 lives or change 100,000 million bajillion lives. But you have to also have a bit of a realistic approach to it, where if you're like me, I can only see one person at a time. But I can deeply, deeply, deeply impact that person's life by being present with them and by being a whole, like looking at them as a whole person and understanding how they work, understanding what they need to get from me as a practitioner. And I think that sometimes we mistake width of impact for depth and depth of impact.
Yeah.
And so if you can have a deep impact on a small group of people, you will have changed so many lives and you don't even realize. And I think that that's so deeply discounted, because there's not a ticker counter on the side of your website that says, I've helped 10,000 girls and something like that. But if you sat down and you looked at each person who you see as a client and you say, this person has a family, workmates, friends that they want to spend time with. They have all of these people. They have all of these social circles. They have, you know, they want to be part of a community. They're a parent and all of these different things. Then you are making a massive impact by allowing and helping that person to be better. So I think it's a really challenging thing, because I want to support community, and I support community myself through giving back to homeless charities, and I give to women's charities and domestic violence charities and all of these kinds of things. But I think that we need to take just even the small impacts that we're making and remember that they are going to be big.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh.
And a lot of people think that their business is the only vehicle that they can use to create change. But, you know, there's so many different avenues. Like with what you do, you use your business as a tool to create deep change in your clients, to create an income that is good for you and your family and provides for them, but then also gives back to your community in different charities. So organizations that are completely dedicated to helping the homeless or building community or whatever it is, they're very good at what they do. So you can support them. You can be extremely good at what you do, which is your practice, and then also support them being extremely good at what they do. So it's just different ways of having impact. I guess what's important is that people are like practitioners, women particularly in wellness as practitioners, become aware of the kind of change that they want to create, and they get really clear and focused on that. They get really clear and focused on who is their audience that they most want to help. So how did you go through that process, and what did it look like for you?
Wow. In all honesty, it was really just a process of elimination. It was less about finding the ideal person and more about finding the people I didn't want to work with, which sort of seems a bit contradictory to what everybody's like, oh, find your client avatar and do the ideal blah, 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 and but in all honesty, the thing I always get stuck on is like, I just want to help people. I just want to help them feel better. I just want to do the blah, blah, blah. I just want to do massage. I just want to massage people. And so what I started to work out was I kind of worked out the people I didn't think I could help the best. And so I stopped targeting those people.
Yeah.
That kind of made sense.
Yeah.
So I've been really fortunate because I've always just kind of, clients have always just kind of gravitated towards me. So, which sounds, again, that's really airy-fairy, and it's not a practical kind of thing to just be like, oh, just be awesome. So it's challenging, but I think what you need to do is, if you do have, if you're new to a business and you have 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 clients, you have a small number of people, I think it's important to just sit down and think about, rank them. Go, this person is my number 1 person. I love them heaps. When they come in, I feel on fire and I know everything I need to know, and I give them everything they need. And I love them and they love me. And then you just need to have the confidence to ask that person to refer people like them. Yeah. And that's as simple as it's been for me. It's been, I really love working with this person. And I just say to them, hey, you probably know people who are like you. They go, yeah, I do. And I go, cool. Could you refer people that are like you to me? Because they probably need me like you need me. Yeah. Cool. Okay. Give them some business cards, and it sort of just happens like that. And so I think it's ideal clients and all these kind of things are really challenging, because it's sometimes you're trying to find your niche before you've actually found what you really love. Yeah. I think that's sometimes you do need to kind of throw a lot of stuff at a wall and see what sticks. Yeah. And so I guess maybe quit early on things if you don't love them. Yeah. You're doing something and you're like, oh, I hate this. Stop. It seems crazy. And I think that's the thing, is people have this, it's called the sunk cost fallacy. So you're like, but I've invested all this time. And you're like, yeah, but it's not getting you anywhere. So you might as well stop. Yeah. 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 No, it's good. Good. I hope I'm making sense. I feel like I'm not making any sense at all. See, I think someone like your personality seems to be very much an action taker. You're very energetic and you just go out and you just do stuff and just make it happen, and you find out what works along the way. Yeah. And I think a lot of people struggle when they start a business, or even before they start a business. They know they want to, but they think that they have to analyze it all and have all of the T's crossed and I's dotted before they can even start. So being that your personality is very energetic and action taking, maybe it's hard for you to give them advice, because maybe that's not something you can really relate to too much. I don't know. How would you recommend that they get out of that place of analysis and just go and do it? Okay. Baby steps. Definitely baby steps. Yeah. I'm an extroverted person just generally. I get energized off talking to people and being around people. So networking events are where I generally thrive. And I seem to have no problem just kind of walking up to people and, hello, I'm a massage therapist. And people are like, hooray. So everybody, it's definitely one of the best jobs in the world. Nobody's upset to see you. Everyone's happy. Everyone's like, hooray, I'm here for a massage. So to take action, I think one of the best things you can do is find the thing that feels the least uncomfortable. So whatever that looks like for you, whether it's, meeting a new client for a coffee, or putting up a Facebook ad, or doing a live video, or, it's something like that. At first it always feels a bit icky, and you kind of always feel a bit kind of like, oh, I don't know how this is going to go, and I'm a bit scared. But I'm the kind of person, I'll jump in head first and, rocks be damned. But I think that sometimes it's that you've just got to kind of get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Which, that sounds a bit cliche, but you kind of, I guess do something, whatever the something looks like for you, do something.
Yeah.
Make that phone call, post that ad, and remember, nothing's permanent. It's not, unless of course you go out and make some kind of ridiculously crazy claim or something.
Yeah.
But nothing's permanent. It's all temporary and fluid, and you can change them around, and you can do different things. Create an offer it. Do an email, send out an email to people, like one thing after another, and just keep doing the thing.
Yeah, that's right.
Whatever it is. And if that thing doesn't work, do something else.
Yeah.
I think one of the best things I've ever kind of flipped my mindset about is I always used to think that I'd failed at business because I had to close it and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no, it was just an experiment. It was an experiment. And I think every time that you do something, you get
Your mate.
Yes. You get to have another opportunity to experiment at something else. That's
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So experiments are just more data. So you go, like, you do a Facebook Live and it goes really well. Awesome. Do more Facebook Lives. Your audience responds to it. Maybe people asking you more questions, doing those kinds of things. If you do an email and you get no traction on it, try something else. Try something else in the email. Try, keep kind of throwing stuff out and seeing what works.
Yeah.
And test, measure, change. Test, measure, change. Test, measure, change.
Yeah.
And it can, little things make a huge difference in the long run. Again, your business is a living thing. It lives and breathes as you live and breathe.
Yeah.
So if you kind of stifle it and stop doing stuff, you stop moving it, you stop changing it, you stop looking at ways to grow it, it'll die. It's that simple. So, and it's not, it sounds really flippant that I say it sort of that way, but I've felt that you can feel that kind of in your business sometimes when you're going and you're like, I don't want to do another email. I don't want to do a thing. Blah. And then everything kind of goes blur. And then you have all the clients that you had for the week, or they all cancel. And then you're like, oh, well, I suck. And blah. But then when you kind of go, hang on a second, I'm great. I'm good. I do good work and I'm like great with this. And you just kind of put that positive energy out there. Boom, suddenly everything changes. It's so just try stuff.
Yeah.
Stop being super scared of what people will think, because people are going to think what they're going to think, and you can't change their minds anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Love it. It's not like one just big thing. Like, you don't have to go out and just do some massive thing and then that's going to be the make or break. It's like literally what you said. It's just committing to yourself to be in this process of taking actions regularly with consistency. Yeah. Doesn't matter what they are, just take the actions and keep taking them.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It seems, again, it sounds so easy. It must be complicated.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the other thing. Stuck in the fact that it must be complicated.
Yeah.
You're like, no, it's not. Not really. But, just do it.
Cool.
Nike had it right.
Nike, yeah, absolutely. You say Nike, is that like how the Americans say it?
Oh, I don't know.
Or maybe they just say it like that in Queensland. I say Nike, I don't know. Anyway, irrelevant. So tell me, what are you most excited about in your business that's coming up for you?
Okay, well, probably I'm pretty excited about, I'm moving to hopefully new premises, which is going to be exciting, separating church and state. I'm in a home studio at the moment. It's making me a bit crazy.
Nice.
And so that'll be really fun. It'll be really fun to actually get a little bit of a premises again and kind of get out of that kind of being at home mindset. Like, I can just kind of be in my pajamas all the time. great. I'm also pretty excited about the fact that I've learned some new skills around business, and it seems to be evolving itself into kind of helping practitioners and helping particularly educators with being able to launch their businesses into an online space, which is really nice. And I'm just kind of supporting a few of my really like favorite people into becoming a little bit more online savvy, which is fun. I find that stuff really lights me up at the moment. It's really exciting. And I don't know, there's sort of like just hanging out with my kid, which is really fun. She's a bit of a spitfire, and she wants to start her own. She wants to teach other kids how to do massage. Which is really cute. And
Wow.
so I've been hopefully we'll be working on like a pilot program to go into her school, teaching kids about positive touch and like consent and boundaries and things like
Oh, so good.
so.
Yeah.
So that'll be super adorable. And she's a really touchy feely kid. Surprise. And so she's really keen to kind of teach her friends how to massage and kind of do this sort of thing. So we might even be launching that into some kind of online course for kids, teaching them about positive touch and how that can help like reduce bullying and all that kind of stuff. So fingers crossed, that's a bit of a project in the pipeline, but I'm hoping it'll work and be good.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty great. So I'm excited to start my kid's first business at the age of 6. She will.
You're creating disciples already. That's cool.
The entrepreneur.
Yeah. Well, Kristie, it's been so good speaking with you. I think people are going to get a lot of encouragement from that. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for having me on. It's been great.
And so if people want to find out more about like I know you do a podcast.
Yes.
Where can they find that?
You can find me on iTunes at Rubbed the Wrong Way. That's the name of my podcast.
Very nice.
It's a podcast for massage professionals, but I have had a lot of people tell me that even though they're not in the massage industry, they get a lot out of some of our mini episodes and a few different things. And we talk a lot about different models and things like that on there. And I talk with other massage professionals and health professionals about business and all different sort of stuff. So if you search through iTunes for Rubbed the Wrong Way, or you can go to rubbedtherightway.com and you can find me there.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kristie.
You're welcome, Ben. Thank you.